or they truly are just like, I hate both people, so I'm just gonna vote for Mickey Mouse.
I think it's both. I think really Mickey Mouse just has so much. I think it's his platform, honestly. I think Mickey just has that appeal to people. Like um he's pro-choice, for one.
He's working
Um
class. He
he's
drove that
working.
steamboat.
It's right. He drove that steamboat from India. He's the ideal, if you believe in this sort of thing, he's the ideal capitalist because like he worked his way from the bottom, became CEO of one of the world's largest corporations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he's kind of just like a down to earth mousy guy who looks out for his friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like he's always in the running.
Yeah.
One, two, three, four.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners. These boys are the Oscar wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners,
Good day, mates.
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night. Am I doing this right?
Yeah,
Is the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night wonders if it's doing it right.
yeah, yeah. It sure does. But
I
we
feel like
nailed it.
I feel like I'm getting something out of order, but maybe I'm probably not.
No, that's
Um,
it. You got it.
I'm Joe Strummer.
Whoa. And I'm Lieutenant Marty Michaels.
Since I'm actually Michael, he's actually Andrew, and this is a show where every week we pick a Best Picture winner at random and try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we're talking, of course,
Of
about the
course.
1954 Best Picture winner, From Here to Eternity,
The undisputed champ.
directed by Fred Zinnemann. Um,
Oh, he's back. What did he do before?
he did A Man for All Seasons, which we will cover. He did High Noon, which was a Best Picture nominee
Oh, okay.
in another episode. I forget which episode that was.
Oh, okay.
The movie is set in 1941 Hawaii, before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
By the end, that becomes very dramatically apparent.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's
You're like,
about
boy, I wonder if Pearl Harbor is gonna happen.
there's one point where Burt Lancaster is one of the stars of this movie. He plays Sergeant Milton Warden. At one point, he leans against a wall, and there's a calendar on the wall, and it says December 6th. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me with that foreshadowing.
It's really the remember me of its time. It truly is.
It's a little silly, but like I
Yeah.
get it. They're trying to give they're trying to make the audience be like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Yeah. It's about to
So
go
Burt
down.
Lancaster stars as Sergeant Milton Warden, Jesus Christ. And his story is he's like the second in command to this captain who plays the captain. Uh Philip Ober, he plays Captain Dana Holmes. And Warden is interested in the captain's wife and starts seducing her.
And who wouldn't be?
Uh,
Am I right?
Karen Holmes is played by Deborah Kerr. Um, she, the captain, he's a fucking cheater. They have him and his wife have a very unhappy marriage. So Warden and Karen, they start canoodling. That's one plot. The second plot is Montgomery Clift.
Crazy name. That's his
Cra-
real. That's the actor. That's the actor.
That's the actor.
That's a real life person.
His name was Edward Montgomery Clift.
That's so
Um,
cool.
oh my God, he was born a day before me.
Whoa. You guys are like
He
blood
gives
brothers.
Libra vibes.
Yeah, he gets that for sure.
He plays he plays it's funny because his character's so likable, but he plays Private Robert E. Lee Pruitt.
Such a crazy, unnecessary detail, in
It's
my
so it
opinion.
has nothing to do with anything. It's like
No,
I guess like okay, I guess he's from the South and that's why he's named that,
I
but it's like
guess
nothing about that name is relevant to his character.
no.
Um
It's just a rather unsavory reminder of the Civil War, I
yeah, like
guess.
like he doesn't really give like Confederate vibes. He's not
No,
like a
he's a
maniac. I
he's a
don't know.
nice guy. He's like a
Yeah.
good dude.
So he plays Private Pruitt, and Private Pruitt is was a boxer, had a terrible incident where like he like blinded a guy that he was sparring with,
Yeah,
and
by
he's like
accident.
yeah, by accident, and he's sworn off boxing. Um, but like his like barracks or whatever, his company is that he's transferred to in Hawaii. The Captain Holmes, who the warden is cheating on Holmes's wife, that whole thing. Um, Holmes is like, Pruitt, you're going to be a boxer with my company, whether you like it or not, because if our company wins, I can probably use that as a way to get like a promotion or something.
And what is that?
I don't fucking care.
That's real. Like
Yeah.
boxing is so they consider boxing skill to be so valuable. It just seems I was thrown off by that for such a long time in this movie.
It is a little weird. I sort of bought into it pretty quickly, but I was like, whatever. I'll yeah.
Yeah, it's just random kind of corrupt waste of money army shenanigans.
Yeah. It's a real like I wonder if it's supposed to be I don't know if that stuff actually happens in the military or did or whatever. Like, but I wonder if it's just supposed to be like it's supposed to be something that all these people take very seriously um because they don't have like a war yet to worry about. And then it's supposed to be like this
Yeah.
juxtaposition of like when Pearl Harbor happens, like when the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor, it's like suddenly like, oh, all that shit like is meaningless. Like why were we so concerned with all that?
Makes sense.
So Pruitt, so that there's that boxing thing, and he refuses to box, and then his company, especially Captain Holmes's like goons, like within the company, start like torturing Pruitt and like trying to get him to fight and like just like making like giving him just like tons of work and making just his life shit.
Yeah.
Um, and also Pruitt starts falling in love with Alma Burke, played by Donna Reed, who
Well,
like
she's
works at
not really Alma. She goes by Lorraine. Well, Lorraine is her fake name that she gives him, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And she works at like this sort of gentleman's club. She's like a woman who works there and is supposed to like kind of entertain the guests, flirt with the boys, make them like the soldiers, make them feel good, I
Yeah.
guess, make those absolute probably fucking banging tips. Um, and they sort of have a love story. Also, Frank Sinatra's here and he won Best Supporting Actor for this
How about
movie
that?
as
Um,
Private Angelo Maggio, the most Italian name you've ever heard.
I thought that was so funny. Like everything he does is like, "Hey, are you a paisan?" I'm like, "Oh my god." Um,
Yeah.
he's good though. I actually like his performance.
I think he's really good in this movie,
Yeah,
weirdly. Was
yeah.
not expecting it.
I thought it was gonna be a cameo. I thought it was like because he's kind of there when Pruitt walks into the base for the first time, just like
Yeah.
sweeping or something. I thought he was gonna be in a cameo for like a second, but no, he's a major
He
character in
has
the
like a
movie.
whole arc.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, saying all that out loud, this movie's like weirdly plotty when laid out like that, but it doesn't really feel plotty. At least to me, it didn't.
Um, it, it is. No, it's actually not. It's a little bit episodic in terms of like you nailed the overall themes of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Pruitt's being bullied because he doesn't want to box, and then the guy. It's just like a couple different scenes of sometimes they go out on leave, and then
Yeah.
sometimes they're doing military duty, and they show Pruitt getting harassed by his superiors because he's not boxing, which is insane. But okay,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it kind of just I just don't really love what's going on here. I'll be honest. Like
Gotcha.
it's just
Gotcha.
not fun or entertaining to me. I
Okay.
think the relationship between this movie does feature perhaps the most boring adultery of all time in the relationship between Holmes's wife Karen and
Warden.
Sergeant Warden.
Yeah, Sergeant Warden.
Um, I don't like them together at all. They have such a weird, uncomfortable vibe. He goes to their house. He goes to her house like unannounced, and it's such a thoroughly weird scene where I'm like, is this romantic? She like is not into him at all. And then he kind of like insults her and is like, I'm gonna go. And then she's like, wait. And then they kiss.
Yeah. Their relationship, most of their scenes, even the most romantic. So the big scene in this movie, like probably the most famous scene, is them kissing on like the sand and the fucking ocean waters rushing past them.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like even that scene, right after that, they have like a fight where like basically Warden like slut shames her. He's like,
Yeah.
I've been hearing you've been sleeping with a lot of the men in like my fucking company, and it's like, okay, where's that coming from? Like, it's just like I don't know. It's like absurd, and it's like every scene like just like has some kind of weird fight where you're like, what is going on? Why are they fighting?
it's although I will admit, not to defend him because obviously his behavior is not acceptable, but it's not that she dated a lot of guys in the company. It's more like he's worried that he's just kind of like another person to
Right,
her
right, right.
and
Yeah,
that she's gonna dispose of him very quickly.
yeah.
That's
No,
his main
that's true.
worry.
That's true. That is the
Uh,
vibe.
yeah. But still,
I
he does say some rather unsavory things in
Yeah,
that
it's like chill
encounter.
out.
Yeah, it's like
Like
chill
her
out, dude.
husband is cheating on her, like let her fucking do her thing.
Let her cook.
Like yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. I was completely disinterested. I actually really like this movie. I
Okay.
like it quite a bit. I do think the romantic subplots I think should be just lifted out of this movie. I think they're both kind of boring. I think the Montgomery Clift and Donna Reed one is a little bit better, the Alma
I
and Pruitt one, or
yeah.
Lorene and Pruitt one.
I think
Um
they're at least nice to each other.
yeah. And they're like charming enough, and usually Frank Sinatra will show up and he's like drunk.
Drunk Frank Sinatra should be in, I think, most movies.
So their subplot is a little bit better, but I still think it's a little bit boring. To me, the most interesting stuff is just like the guys being dude stuff, where it's like Montgomery Clift dealing with being fucking picked on by all of his, fellow soldiers.
Mhm.
And then also just like palling around with Sinatra. Um, and even like his like Pruitt's dynamic with Warden is interesting because it's like Warden is like respects Pruitt and like is protective of him but is also I couldn't really totally track their vibe, but I thought it was interesting because it's like Warden will also like also play along with everybody else and like kind of dunking on Pruitt. It's very strange, but it's interesting.
It's clear that he respects Pruitt,
Yeah.
and but he's conflicted because he almost can't show that admiration because he kind of respects Pruitt because Pruitt um, goes directly against.
Holmes.
Yeah, well, he goes directly against Holmes and also like other superior officers
Right,
because
right.
there is a scene where Pruitt basically cracks. They give him like the worst chores to do and like extra duty. And there's always the classic scene where they make him dig a giant hole and they're like, all right, fill it back up. They make him do all that stuff. And there's one scene where I think he's cleaning up the boxing ring, and then one of the other soldiers is like, oh, and also clean this up, and he spits on Pruitt
Yeah.
and doesn't apologize for it. And the army is like, it's so funny because it's so petty. The army is like, no, you have to apologize. And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, go run 6 miles. He's
Yeah.
like, okay. And he comes back and they're like, all right, are you sorry yet? And he's like, no, you just maybe run 6 miles. They're like, all right, go back again.
Yeah.
Um, and I like that aspect. He's a bit of a rebel, I guess, within the army.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's
do
so
you,
interesting. Sorry.
yeah,
No.
I just want to ask you
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Do you think he could cut in the army?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is just it hasn't happened to me, but in my mind, if I were in his shoes and like I felt genuinely disrespected, I think I would be as stubborn. Just because like they they just treated him terribly. Like he's like this is your way of leading an army,
Yeah.
is to be disrespectful to people who are sacrificing their lives for their country.
Yeah.
Not crazy.
Well, it's interesting, like the movie doesn't really get into it, but and I don't know the actual history, but it is interesting to think about like the US Army between World War One and World War Two. Like it's just like kind of 30 years or like 20 something years of just like nothing happening, as far as I
Yeah.
know, as far as I can remember. Um, and it's
Don't
like,
quote us on this.
yeah, definitely don't quote us on this.
We
And it's
hope you're
like,
not coming to this for like historical
yeah, absolutely
background.
not.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong, but it's like, for 20 years there's no war that like the United States is a part of, so they're just sort of like chilling out and it just becomes like this fucking like boys club of bureaucracy of like one-upsmanship and like fucking shitting on other like the lower guys so you can get a leg up.
Yeah.
Um and to me that's interesting. I don't the movie's kind of about that without maybe explicitly saying it. I don't really know. I just think it's kind of interesting to think about.
It was definitely an interesting choice to go. I mean, maybe it's because World War II has been such tread ground already, but we still see plenty of World War II movies made today, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe I wonder if Zinnemann said, I want to do something a little different. Let's go pre-war. Definitely an interesting take. I don't know if it necessarily paid off. I think during and post-war is ultimately more interesting, just because there is, there's more action going on.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this movie did suffer from a bit of a lack of action.
Yeah, it's more of like kind of like a it's almost like it's like a workplace dramedy and a melodrama.
Yeah, it is actually. No, it's actually a good way of putting it.
Um,
Um, it just feels weird because it's built almost like a workplace drama, and then it culminates in war. Like there's this weird, I want to say Deus Ex Machina moment, but it's almost the opposite, where it's like, you know, all the problems are just everything that you maybe have cared about in the movie, all the problems and conflicts going on, it's all instantly minimized
yeah,
by Pearl Harbor happening.
right,
And I guess that's the idea.
right.
But what was the point of having those conflicts in the first place, is my argument. Like, why did we go through all this rigmarole just to get to World War II happened and that sucks, huh?
Yeah. No,
Right? I
that's
don't know.
that's fair. I think that's a good point. Yeah, because
Because,
the Pearl Harbor stuff is literally like the last 15 minutes of the movie. Like all of a
yeah,
sudden, it's just like people are like the guys are all running for like to the gun storage locker and stuff
yeah.
to like fend off like Japanese airplanes.
And in the end, spoiler alert, but Pruitt, I think, is disposed of in the most. It's so anticlimactic the way that he dies in the end. He's well, I guess. Well, first of all, he's stabbed because he tries to. That's a whole subplot we
Yeah, we
didn't
should
get
talk about
into,
that
but
though. That's the Sinatra
okay,
subplot.
yeah, we can talk. Let's talk. We'll talk Sinatra subplot, and then we can maybe get
Yeah.
into the ending.
So Frank Sinatra's whole subplot
Yeah,
is he fucking hates Ernest Borgnine as Sergeant James R. Fatso Judson.
can't stand Fatso. Can't
um,
stand him.
Ernest Borgnine, famously, who voiced Mermaid Man and SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, that's where I know his name. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Um,
Wow, what a legend.
he's been in like a million movies. He's the best.
He is truly insufferable in this movie,
He
though.
fucking sucks.
Yeah. The first conflict is they're on leave.
Yeah,
Uh, Sinatra, who is Private Maggio, and
yeah,
Pruitt. They're at the bar where he meets Lorraine, or like the gentleman's club or whatever, and Fatso is playing the piano. He's playing it horribly. He sucks. He's just being like, dun, 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 dun. And Maggio's like, hey, stop. What you play is not that good. Can you stop? There's also like Hawaiian music playing in the background, and it's just conflicting. And my ears are like, this has to stop at some point. But Fatso runs the. Does he run the military prison, or he's the warden, or something like that?
yeah, yeah.
He's like, you better hope you never get court-martialed, because if you do, I'm gonna make your life hell.
Guess what?
Whoopsies.
Sinatra is he's put on like guard detail, like for the base or whatever, and
Yeah.
he skips like he skips out on it because he had to leave that night, but then like somebody got sick or whatever, so he had to take over, and he cuts out on his guard detail of a military base. You don't want to do that.
Not good.
Um,
Just
he just
gets
goes into town. He's like, when he meets up with Pruitt and Lorene, he's already like fucking blackout drunk.
yeah, he's loaded.
Um,
He's calling everybody Paisan.
and Maggio gets found by like the military police, and he's put in the fucking brig or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's actually like like it's you don't see it, but it's like you hear that like Ernest Borgnine is just like beating the shit out of Maggio in the jail. Like
Yeah.
just every day is just like beating him, and like so and like where nobody can see him, like on his like torso and stuff. I'm like, that
Yeah.
sounds like fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's
Um
horrible.
uh
And
and
he's like,
we
I
love
gotta get
Maggio. He's our little
yeah.
Italian little stallion.
That's our buddy. Yeah.
So he's in jail the whole time, and he tells Pruitt, he tells Ernest Borgnine, like, I'm gonna fucking break out of here. And they're like, yeah, yeah, okay, okay. And he
yeah, okay.
does.
Yeah, he does. He does it.
He breaks out of military jail. But like as soon as he escapes, he finds Pruitt and I think Warden. They're like by the beach talking or whatever, and Maggio runs up and he like dies from like I guess just like wounds, like
Fatso is responsible, as he is for
yeah,
all things.
yeah. And Pruitt is sort of filled with rage, and he's like, "What if I killed him?" And he does.
Yeah, he does.
He
They have a
stabs
knife fight
him
on the
with his
street.
knife, with Fatso's knife.
Yeah. Kind of badass.
And so then Pruitt has to go into hiding because obviously people are investigating like how did
Yeah.
this what is he? Is he is like a sergeant?
He's a
He's
private.
a sergeant. No, Borgnine's a sergeant. So
Oh,
it's like the
Borgnine is.
sergeant
Yeah,
was
yeah.
killed, and it's like we
Yeah.
have to figure out who did it. And then Pearl Harbor happens, and if Pruitt would have survived, he probably would have been that probably would have been forgotten.
Probably. Anything incidental like that, they're like, oh, Fatso died? I don't know. Pearl Harbor's going on right now. We got World War II going. The Germans are coming. I don't know. We'll deal with that later. And then they probably forgot about it. It was in like
Yeah.
it was like a clerical oversight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But no, he gets shot by one of his own guys. It's so weird and kind of ineffectual in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's just like, because he gets stabbed in the altercation with Fatso Judson, and he's running back onto the base because he hears on the radio Japanese are bombing Pearl Harbor. He's like, I got to get back to base. So he's like hobbling back to base with this injury. And then some military officers are like, who are you? Because he's running around in a Hawaiian shirt. So they're like, who are you? State your business.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything, and they just shoot him.
Yeah. It's a movie about two men, Warden and Pruitt, who have a chance at love, but like are way too into being soldiers.
Yeah, totally.
And like Warden once like America has entered the Second World War, Warden's like, yeah, to Karen, he's like, I can't. I have to like I have to like I'm a soldier. Like I have to go do this.
Yeah, she wants him to become to apply to be an officer.
Yeah, which he doesn't want to do, but he'll do it for her.
Yeah,
And then it's like, no, actually, I'm a soldier, and this is where I belong. And she's like, all right, I'm
yeah.
gonna go
So
back with fucking Captain Holmes and be miserable for the rest of my life. He's like, all
that
right, sounds good.
sucks.
Bye.
Yeah, he's like, all right, see ya.
And then like the last scene is Karen and Lorene on the boat because I think Lorene was she went to Hawaii because she heard it was like you could make a lot of money in a short amount of time. So she went there, worked in like this like gentleman's club kind of thing, and is going back to the US, or like Hawaii is the US. Was it then? I don't think it was. So maybe I'm right on an error,
Nice.
on like a clerical error.
Nice job, dude.
So she's going back to like the continental United States.
Yeah,
To like buy her mom a house and just like live and exist. So her and Karen are on the boat, and they like are talking about their men and like, oh yeah, so and so, blah blah blah. She throws the fucking what are the things called? The like wreaths, like kind of
Olay.
flower allay. Yeah, she throws that in the water. And the movie ends, cuts to credits, and Fred Zinnemann comes on the screen and gives you the middle finger and says to go fuck yourself. So
Yeah, it's so, I mean, really ahead of its time, honestly.
yeah, really anti movies, anti cinema.
Yeah, Fred Zinnemann was anti-cinema back then. It was kind of metal.
I don't know. It's the movie. Pretty
That's the
good.
movie. Pretty
I
okay.
I think I think this is like a 3-star movie where it's similar to like the On the Waterfront situation where like I think this is I like On the Waterfront better, but From Here to Eternity is like a 3-star movie that I give an extra star because I think Montgomery Clift is so good in this movie. I think he gives an incredible performance.
I think it's more of like a 3-star because it's a 3-star movie that I took away a star because I thought the ending was kind of lackluster and
The ending
it's
is a
it's
little, yeah,
it culminates in if I'm thinking, we've addressed this before, but if I'm thinking what was the point of this, it's not a good sign. And that's kind of how I felt at the end.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Montgomery Clift is giving like this. It feels very Brando-esque, where it's like it feels like a very modern performance, sort of a revolutionary performance of like it's I don't know, it's very like idiosyncratic and feels like kind of spontaneous. I don't think he's doing as good a job as Brando, but I do think he's doing interesting stuff. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
it
I
feel
agree. I
yeah,
like his performance in this.
yeah.
He's good.
Do you want to hear the other Best Picture nominees?
Yeah, lay him on me.
All right.
Gently, though.
Oh,
What's good, John?
a Joe Mankiewicz movie. We just talked about him recently with All About Eve.
That's Herman's brother,
Yeah, Mank.
Mank.
Um, and starring Marlon Brando. This is 1953's Julius Caesar,
Oh, wow.
about the
I know him.
assassination of the would-be ruler of Rome at the hands of Brutus and company that has tragic consequences for the idealist and the Republic.
I would see that. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Okay.
It's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Next up, we have The Robe.
Hey.
It's actually sort of a avant-garde word of the day companion movie to Julius Caesar, and it's about Julius Caesar's robe.
That I could get behind. That sounds dope.
No, it's directed by Henry Coster. It stars Richard Burton. Um, Marcellus is a tribune in the time of Christ. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy. He is in charge of the group that is
Marcellus?
assigned to crucify Jesus.
Who?
Drunk, he
Huh?
wins Jesus's homespun robe after the crucifixion. He is tormented by nightmares and delusions after the event.
What?
Hoping to find a way to live with what he has done, still not believing in Jesus, he returns to Palestine to try and learn what he can of the man he killed. That sounds really interesting.
Wait, so he wins his robe like in a lottery?
I guess it's more like, all right, so Jesus is crucified, and they're like, I don't know, anybody want this? And fucking Marcellus is like, yeah, I'll take it, I guess.
He's like, I killed the man. Let me get the robe.
And then he's like haunted by what he's done. He's like, I have to go to the birthplace of Jesus Christ and figure out who he was. That's kind of interesting. I don't know.
That sounds complicated and interesting.
Next up, we have a William Wyler joint, if you can fucking believe it.
I sure can. He's everywhere.
It's Roman Holiday, probably one of his most famous movies.
Was there a theme this year
Oh yeah,
of
what the
Rome?
hell? It's like Rome, Jesus. I don't
And then
know.
Pearl Harbor.
Well, the last movie I'll get to in a second is a Western, so it kind of breaks that, but yeah.
That's cool.
Um, so Roman Holiday is about so overwhelmed by her suffocating schedule, touring European princess Anne, played by is it Audrey Hepburn? Audrey Hepburn,
Nice. The Queen.
the Queen. She takes off for a night while in Rome. When a sedative she took from her doctor kicks in, however, she falls asleep on a park bench and is found by an American reporter, Joe Bradley, played by Gregory Peck, um,
Oh.
who takes her back to his apartment for safety. At work the next morning,
Okay.
what? At work the next morning, Joe finds out Anne's regal identity and bets his editor he can get an exclusive interview with her, but romance soon gets in the way. That
So
sounds
he
he's like, I'll steal this woman.
so he steals a sedated woman and then says, "Let me get an exclusive scoop out of her."
That's such a 50s thing to be like, I'm not going to take this woman to the police who's passed out on this bench. I'm going to take her back to my house. I
Where
don't
it's
know.
safe.
or like call an ambulance. I don't know. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
It's a good thing a good guy like me came over
Yeah,
and not a
literally.
bad guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
I don't know, man.
sounds honestly sounds good though. I would watch that. I probably will watch it someday. It has a lot of people I follow on Letterboxd are giving it 5 stars. So,
I like
um,
Audrey and Greg, so
yeah, it's sort of like it's a weird. It's funny. Those three people, William Wyler, Greg Peck, Audrey Hepburn. It's like the Oscar wieners canon is coming together for a movie. You got Gregory Peck from Gentleman's
yes.
Agreement, William Wyler from fucking Mrs. Miniver, and you got
Yes.
Audrey Hepburn from My Fair Lady.
The OWCU. If we could, we should do like a, we should create and cast a movie,
Yeah, what's it called?
A Hot Dog in Paradise.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think let's get Brando.
Brando.
Yeah. Um,
Who's the quirky like sidekick to to Brando?
oh, let's get, oh, you're gonna love this. Who plays Anne in Gentleman's Agreement?
She was in fucking All About Eve too.
Yes.
Her name's on the tip of my tongue. Give me one freaking second. Celeste Home.
Okay. Celeste Holm. Let's get Celeste Holm.
That's really good.
She's Marlon Brand. She's his childhood friend who
Okay.
like has always had a crush on him. But
So good.
Marlon Brando has eyes for,
Give me one second.
okay.
Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Woody
this
Allen is
could,
Shirley MacLaine's dad who doesn't like Marlon Brando's vibe.
okay. All right, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good.
Gene Hackman is Brando's uncle who took over after Brando's parents died.
Gene, the immortal Gene. He has to be in it. Gene was born to play an uncle for sure. That's a guarantee. And Clint Eastwood's directing this whole thing. How
Oh
about
my God,
that?
that's so good. Yeah. That sounds like a fucking. We got to get Nicholson in doing something.
Nicholson. Okay, damn. Yeah, Nicholson's got to get involved. I don't know how or where or why, but he's in it.
Nicholson is Shirley MacLaine's fucking asshole husband who's constantly
Oh,
getting drunk
okay.
and flirting with ladies.
Oh, so just like,
Casting Nicholson to type.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Straight to type.
Yeah. Produced by Ben Affleck.
Has to be. I won't do it otherwise.
Written by Peter Farley of Green Book.
God, what a masterpiece.
That
Look
was
for that.
fun. Finally, we got one more
Yeah.
movie.
Okay, what do we got?
We got Shane.
Who?
Shane,
Okay.
directed by George
Awesome.
Stevens. Um, I've seen this movie actually.
Oh, really?
Got Alan Ladd as the titular Shane.
Alan
A
Ladd.
weary gunfighter attempts to settle down with a homestead family, but a smoldering settler and rancher conflict forces. Oh, but a smoldering settler and rancher conflict forces him to act.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so it's like Shane is this like old time. He's like this former gunslinger. He he just really settled down with the farm. It's sort of like he's taking a break, and they're like, "You could stay for a while." He's like, "Yeah, I guess I will." And he becomes sort of domestic, and then like this other farm, these like more powerful farmers are like, "Hey, we kind of want your land, I think," and they're like, "No," and he's like, "I'm gonna start being mean about it if you don't say
Oh,
yes." Like they're
ain't
like,
that just the
"No,"
way?
and then Shane is like, "I have a gun, and I'm gonna use it,"
That's cool.
but he doesn't want to, and he's conflicted about it.
Yeah. Anyone, let it be known that if you're like, if your thing in a movie is guy with gun, you gotta also have the character trait that you don't want to use it. You're like, this is my last resort.
Totally, totally.
Yeah, I'm a
That's
guy
just
with a gun
yeah,
who's like good with guns, but also this is my last resort. And you've made
totally.
me, it's come to this. Yeah.
Do you think From Here to Eternity is Best Picture worthy?
I get it. I just don't love it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'll keep it at that. I think that makes sense. My head.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Even though I do like this movie quite a bit, I agree with you. Um, I mean, I obviously I've only the only other movie I've seen that year was Shane. I think I like From Here to Eternity a little bit more than Shane. Um,
Oh, interesting.
but yeah, it's like it's got all the stuff of like a Best Picture winner. It's got the World War II backdrop. It's got romance. It's got doomed romance. People they fucking love that.
Yeah,
Um,
doomed.
yeah. That
It's got
also
the
the I feel
makings.
like the Academy loves a man who sticks to his metaphorical guns,
Yeah,
his moral guns. I don't know.
and
That's it.
his non-metaphorical bugle.
That's weird that he's the best bugler in the army for no
It
reason.
it doesn't. It really does feel like for no reason. Like he's introduced, and they're like, "Oh, you were the bugler for this other military company." He's like, "Yeah, I don't do that anymore." He doesn't do that either. But there's no dark past associated with bugling. I
He
don't even
killed
get
the guy
that.
from how good he bugled.
He just bugled so hard that a guy died. It's like I'm not gonna bugle anymore. Mr. O'Brien,
Yeah,
Sergeant,
thank you.
do you want to hear some reviews for this film from people, the good people of the internet?
Yes.
Give me a second while I pull them up. It's
God,
loading for
it's
some
so
reason.
unprepared.
It's just taking really
This
long
is fucking crazy.
time.
This
It's
is
okay.
staying
I'm thinking of
in.
it. Give me the name of someone. I'll say it. That's a poor editing choice, but it's not my job anymore. Give me the name of somebody. Give me the name of somebody who's the top bugler in the country.
Ferris Bugler.
That's awesome. In a big spot, Michael Bryant. Ferris Bugler says 3 stars. If only Monty Clift would do to me what he did to that trumpet. And my only retort is it's a bugle. You of all
Montgomery
people
Clift
should
is
know that,
incredibly hot.
Ferris.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah, he's a handsome man for sure.
He my review on Letterboxd was that him and Joe Strummer look. That's why I said Joe Strummer. I think they look a lot alike.
I went along with it in the beginning. I'll admit I don't know who Joe Strummer is.
He is the one of the lead singers. I mean, he's in the Clash. He's like sort of him and Mick Jones are sort of the head guys of the Clash.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Um, they look a lot alike, and also weirdly, and I wonder, I should do some Googling. The Clash have a song called "The Right Profile," where sort of the kind of chorus refrain of that song, the song's about Montgomery Clift. And the sort of
What?
refrain is like, "That's Montgomery Clift, honey." That's the refrain in the song. So I feel like it
Sounds
has to
like
be
a
a thing where
bad
it's like it was
song.
like an in joke in the band where it's like people keep coming up to Joe Strummer and being like, "You look a lot like Montgomery Clift."
Wow,
It has to be.
that's a reference that doesn't get made today, huh? That's a
No.
comparison that'll never be made again.
No, I'm sure Gen Alpha is going to reclaim
The
the
Joe Strummer Montgomery Clift debate,
yeah.
as they should. A lot of gold there. Give me the name. Give me the name of. Give me the name of an Autobot.
Uh Starscream? Is he's an Autobot? Or no,
He's
he's
a
a Decepticon.
Decepticon, but I'll
Shit.
let it fly. I'll let it fly.
Okay.
Starscream says 4 stars. Starscream loves this. He says, and I quote, "Those old people got it, bro. This shit is gas."
Honestly, I love that.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's a 17 that's a 16-year-old who was had to watch this for high school and it's like, wait, this movie actually rips.
And I like that. I definitely think high schools should continue to show classic films in their class. I mean, this is, I suppose, historically relevant, although not really. Now that I think about it, it's mostly just random military stuff, and then historically relevant events happen at the end,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they just watch it
No,
for fun.
that's true. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Last review I'll read. It's very simple. It's simple and straightforward. Give me the name of a simple man, just a simple guy.
Joel Cohen, how about?
Joel Cohen says 2.5 stars. Elite cast. Bland plot. Not sure how it fits into the MCU.
That's
Frankly,
really
neither
funny.
am I.
That's
Neither am
really
I, Joel.
funny.
Yeah.
The joke of thinking saying that everything's connected to the MCU is always funny. Thanks for listening. Next week, for the longest time, I've been telling you, Andrew, you gotta fucking learn to dance with some wolves.
Yes. Avatar 1.
So next week we'll be talking the 1991 Best Picture winner. I believe that's correct. Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner's directorial debut. I sort of
Oh,
wanted to
wow.
line this up with he's fucking releasing his like Western epic in a week from when we're recording this, the end of June.
What's his Western app? Is it Waterworld?
He's making it's called Horizon. Watch the trailers. It's 4 movies and they're all like 3 hours each. And
Why?
he self-financed them.
But why are we?
It's been like his passion project for the last like 30 years, and I can't fucking wait.
All right. He's got them all made, or is it like,
He has the first 2 made, I think, and I think he's shooting 3 and 4 now, or maybe they're already done. I can't remember.
all right.
Because 1 comes out the end of June, 2 comes out like middle of August.
All right. I mean, listen, I don't know. I'm not immediately hyped on signing up for 12 hours of Kevin content, but
What?
all
There's a
right.
Yellowstone poster right behind you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we need to take that down.
Yeah, so that's what we'll talk about next week. Don't
Cool.
I think it's free on Tubi, Dances with Wolves. I'm
Nice.
assuming it's the theatrical 3 hour cut because there is a 4 hour cut. Don't watch that one.
Christ. Okay.
I have seen the 4 hour cut. That's the only version I've seen. I only saw this movie once. 4 hour
It's
cut.
crazy. It's crazy
Watch
that
it.
1, the theatrical cut is 3 hours, and 2, that you've only seen the 4-hour version.
Sort of like, all right, if this is a long movie, if I only watch it once, I might as well just watch the really long version.
I don't know. I would never watch the 4-hour version.
I remember liking it. I remember thinking it's a pretty good movie.
All right.
I imagine it's kind of problematic, but I don't know. We'll fucking see. Um,
Cool.
until then, kiss
Yes.
your woman-sized hot dog on a beach as the
Nice.
ocean flows over
Oh.
her meaty,
Ooh.
mysteriously porky
Ooh.
body.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Bye.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners. These boys are the Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners.
Saw a headline about RFK being kind of like a weird, like quietly pretty conservative guy.
He's like a conspiracy theorist.
I guess it's hard when your dad was assassinated and your uncle was
Yeah.
assassinated to not believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's honestly a great point.
Yeah.